So, I am so excited to do this tarot reading. The cards are already out because I was a little bit nervous about if I'd be able to interpret the answer to this question that I was thinking of. And so I thought I'll do a practice one before I share it with you guys just to see. And it was so good that I had to share this with you. So I'll bring out more cards to clarify as we go, but this is just like amazing. Um, so the question that I asked God was, why does evil exist? Because I think that is a question that is hard to answer and keeps many people from God because, rightfully so, when you look at all the evil in the world and the lack of justice, it's very easy to think, how could a loving, good God create this? So I thought this would be a really good question, and God has answered it so beautifully for us. So anyway, and then I flicked through my Bible, and God, being the miracle worker that He is, found the exact right bit. So I thought we'd just start off with reading this just a little bit here. Now, I've only recently started reading the Bible, so I don't really not very I don't know all these names, but this is the book of Habakkuk. Probably saying that wrong, but anyway. So we have 1. The burden which Habakkuk the prophet did see. O Lord, how long shall I cry, and thou wilt not hear? Even cry out unto thee of violence, and thou wilt not save. Why dost thou show me iniquity, and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that raise up strife and contention. Therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. So yeah, this is exactly what we're talking about. When you see the violence and the evil around you, it makes you say, God, clearly you're not answering my prayers because I know this is wrong, and yeah, it exists. I think we'll just leave it there. But that is the book of Habakkuk, like the first bit. So God turned me to that page after I did this reading. I was like, whoa. So yeah, before we start, I just wanted to do a little breath. So basically just breathe in as deep as you can, right down into your belly, and try and visualize or imagine the breath going into your legs and feet. We're just going to take a deep breath together, but hold it as long as you want and then just let it go, and then we'll get into the reading. So take a deep breath in. Let it all go. And I just want to pray that God, you will come into my heart and my mind and make this truth clear and help me to communicate what you want the people to know watching this. Please let the people watching this video have a clear heart and a clear mind. Help them listen to the messages you have for them, and please bless them, bless their hearts, let them be filled with love, kindness, gratitude, and truth. We are so thankful for you, Lord. Please bless us, and thank you for answering this question. You're so beautiful. Thank you for all my blessings. Thank you for the blessings of everyone. Amen. Okay, let's get started. So, we're asking God, why is there evil? Why is there evil in the world? And the first card we have in the present moment is the 7 of Pentacles. Now, I was getting a lot from this, but I think this is, basically I think this whole answer has come out as like alchemy. And here I think the pentacles can sometimes represent alchemy because it's the gold that you're dreaming of, thinking of. Now, I think here he's sad because he only has one pentacle, and there's all these other ones that take so long to grow that he almost feels like, does this really work? Like, am I only going to ever have one pentacle? Is it worth putting time in to, can you actually get seven pentacles, which is, seven's obviously not obvious, is a spiritual number, a holy number. Um, so it's kind of like he's thinking, is it possible to achieve enlightenment and bliss and ecstasy and connection with God that is unwavering? And it's like he's like, no, you know, this is the real world and miracles aren't real, which is a lot of people's perspectives. You know, there's a lot of nihilism, and people are just stuck in this material world. They don't believe in the spiritual, the seven. So I think that's where we're starting off there. Um, and again, he's sad because when he looks around him, he sees evil, so he's sad, right? But then in the challenge card, oh, this is amazing. I saw this for the first time the other day and I was like, whoa. The Four of Swords in reverse. So he is contemplating the underworld. If you see here, he's facing down the way instead of his upright position where he's facing up to the divine. He's actually, or the divine, the light, he's actually facing the underworld where swords are pointed at him. This is why people don't look at the underworld, or at evil, or at darkness, or self reflect, because we obviously all have a shadow. Because it's scary to face this. You've got three swords coming at you, like they're just gonna slice you. That's what it feels like. So people obviously avoid pain. You know, we are animals as well as spiritual beings. We have a physical reality as well as a spiritual reality. So, it makes sense why people would avoid pain. It's painful, stay away from it. But the path to enlightenment, to being one with God, to peace is by facing the darkness, facing these swords. And really, that's about yourself. You need to look at yourself first in the mirror before you can see other darknesses. Okay, so he is by himself looking at the darkness. That's the challenge that we have. And it's just so painful, yeah. It's so painful to look at the evil. This is the question we're tackling. Okay, in the past we have the death card. So this really is saying to us that people need to accept death. This has so many meanings. This is beautiful. So death. If we can face death, then we win. If we can, like, death is going to come for you anyway. So if you can willingly face it, willingly face it, the underworld, willingly face death, willingly face the darkness, willingly face the unknown, then that is when we are able to be reborn. I'll leave it like that for now. And death is obviously also representative of the underworld, So it's all about facing the darkness within ourselves, and within our outer reality, about facing the truth. Again, these are swords, and this is truth. There's three here. This is divine truth, the Holy Trinity. Even in the darkness, the Holy Trinity exists because it's truth. It's something that wasn't known before. You're becoming conscious of something that is unconscious. You've laid down your own sword. This is laying down your own life, your own ego, and going, do you know what? If I believe in love and truth, then I need to be loving and truthful about myself. So I just love that card. I saw it like that for the first time the other day and I was just blown away. Okay, then in the future we have the Hierophant, number 5. Also, no, wait, before. Death is also 13. That's, 13 phases of the moon, the whole cycle. So it's all about not seeing death as the end, but as a doorway into this new world. It's something that needs to happen and is going to happen anyway. Your choice is whether you stumble along and are in fearful of, a secret coming out or a lie, or you tell the truth yourself. Like, that's your decision, but it's coming for you anyway. Okay, so in the future we've got the Hierophant. So to me, this is like the divine masculine in the spiritual realm. And later we have the High Priestess, so the divine feminine in the spiritual realm. So in the future, this is to me, actually, it could kind of just have justice involved. If you think of divine justice, and the High Priestess would be like divine unconditional love. It's kind of like those two balances, because basically what God is telling me is that he is a paradox, she is a paradox, it's all a paradox. And so we have to love unconditionally in our hearts, but see the truth and the boundaries and the real physical constraints of being in a physical reality, and not being in a world where everyone is living for the highest good of all. That's the reality we live in. As much as we want to say love and light for everyone, you can hold that in your heart, but you need to understand that boundaries are necessary in the physical world, and we're not living in heaven. Like, there needs to be rules. And so this is really saying that, yes, we need rules and we need openness. Like, it's all about that balance. So yeah. Then in the conscious mind, now this is cool, we have the Queen of Cups. So she is like really divine feminine energy as well, because she's all about dreams, water, relationships, love, emotion, prophecy, like the things that scare people about the divine feminine. Like, she sees what's going on. Once she's got to the level of queen, like, you're not feeling her. She can see, because she's connected to the divine. So this is in the conscious mind, and then interestingly, judgment is in the unconscious. So this is so interesting. So judgment, these people have decided to die willingly, and then they rejoice coming out of their coffins because they've been reborn. This isn't the end, it's a doorway to something better. The truth will always lead you to something better. And this is what this is all hard about, because it's like, but if the truth is so evil, like, how could that lead me to something better? It's just because we don't know the whole story yet. So they are rejoicing at the trumpet of judgment, of truth, and so therefore they are blessed. They are like naked before God, and then they become the children of God. Once you let your ego die, and your own selfish desires die. And I don't mean selfish in a good way, because we need to be really selfish in a good way, but your bad tendencies to lie and just serve yourself, to avoid discomfort, to avoid your reputation being affected, all these things, like, that's what needs to die, and then you can become pure. And so the interesting bit I thought about this position was, so conscious mind is like the masculine energy, like that's like the doing, you're aware of, like the thoughts, words, power, you're aware, it's like in the light. And then the darkness is like the feminine energy, and I don't mean that in a negative sense. But that's where judgment is the light. So these have come out in the kind of opposite position, which is exactly what God's trying to say, is that you need to get to a point where it's all the same. where it's a cycle, it moves, you know, it's like bicycle wheels, you go like masculine, feminine, until you don't even know which is which because really it is the same, it's all love, it's just two different expressions of love. Oh, and someone said once that compassion is the like perfect balance of mercy and justice. And I think that really answers, maybe it doesn't answer this question, but that really like opened my eyes to like, yes. So mercy would be the divine feminine, that unconditional love that like you can always be forgiven, because there's an understanding that evil is ignorance. I think it was Socrates that said that. Um, and that's something that if you initially think like that's not true, just ponder it. Ponder all of this because this is stuff that like maybe initially you think like no, but if you spend enough time alone and just pondering, meditating on these things, it will become clear. Yeah. So yeah, divine feminine, mercy, divine masculine, justice, true divine justice. Can't remember what I was going to say. Okay, anyway, in the advice pile, once again, what do we have here? Balance, flow, two. This is the two energies here. And again, we're getting pentacles. I'm getting the alchemy coming out here. If you don't know much about alchemy, take a read on that. It's changed my life. It really helped me understand the paradox of God and that God is two things at once, and that actually these things are the same. It's hard to get your head around at first, but then this one was interesting. Okay, so two cards came out for the advice pile, and this one came out sideways. So I was like, okay, no problem. Flipped it over. What is it? The World, the last card in the Major Arcana, 21, and this is the ending. This is the cycle, the eternal cycle. And it came out sideways, and I was like, yes, that's so alchemy. That's really about talking about these. So if we take, let's say, the bull being like earthly and like lower, as in, and then compared to like the angel higher, they're just. It's all actually this play of creation and love, but on a lower vibration. So there is hierarchy, and there is hierarchy. Like people are at lower and higher levels of vibration, which means they manifest things that are lower base or higher. But we are all the same in what we are made of and created by God and in our spirit. I believe this is what God is saying. So that doesn't mean that we like just love people who are doing evil things. Like there is such a thing as truth, right and wrong, and like hurting people. Like this isn't all just a free for all. Like do what you want. That's not what God's saying. But the understanding is that you can't be evil if you know what you're doing. Like it is ignorance. Like basically people are living like you can do whatever you want in the dark because no one can see you. I see everything. You're getting judged. And the song that comes to mind is You Can Run On For a Long Time. Run on for a long time. Run on for a long time, but sooner or later God's gonna cut you down. And then again that comes back to like, what's the answer? God's gonna cut you down anyway. You might. It's really easy for us to see like in a lifetime, like, but these people can just get away with it and they just keep doing it and there's no justice. Like, that's just the trick. That's because God is so merciful that He gives you all the chances for you to turn to the truth and say, yeah, I broke the rules. I'm not good enough, I need to die, be reborn, face judgment, end this world, start again, and have balance. That is the choice. This is obviously also about free will, to an extent. God doesn't want to force us to be good. God is, or spirit, or the universe, whatever you want to say, but I call him God. Um, and I call him God, even though there is masculine and feminine, but anyway, whatever. So, God, I've forgotten what I was gonna say. Yeah, God is, what I see God as is the perfect mother and father, because that's the truth, right? And so, if we think about organized religions and how dogmatic they are and strict, I think that puts a lot of people off, me myself included. Not really fond of organized religion for the most part. I think that puts people off because they say like, but I want to enjoy myself. I don't see why pleasure is a bad thing. And that's fair enough because God does want you to have pleasure. He just doesn't want you to have pleasure for things that aren't good for you and other people. And so the guidance really, I see it as a, God wants to give you everything that you could ever dream of. But he wants you to achieve it. It's like being given like a gold medal, for like the Olympics, but you didn't actually compete. It's unlikely to feel like a good achievement, right? Because you didn't achieve anything. There's that truth coming in. Like, you can't get around that. God wants you to do it yourself with His guidance and His support and the angels backing you. But He wants you to overcome the hurdles because that's when you understand and achieve um, the bliss that He has and has created for you in heaven. This is the outcome card. We'll get to that. He wants you to have that. He wants you to understand the masculine and feminine crossing over. Um, that's creation. Like when the masculine and feminine energies cross over, that's wholeness. That is happy families, true love. The light shines wherever you are. Okay, we kind of went over this. Right, anyway, so in the external circumstances pile, we have 3 cards that came out, and I can't get them. Right, so yeah, this is it. God wants you to start afresh. Number 1, the magician. So once you die, and you give up your plans, 2 of Wands in reverse. Like, so before you had this secure home, you look at these brick walls, like concrete castle, like you're secure. Look at this. You don't even need to hold on to this. You've like made this life for yourself. This is very like in the material world, I would say, like because people build metaphorical houses made out of shit. Right, and that's why it's hard to let go because like the longer you have a lie, then the more is built up and the more that has to fall. Like if you can tell the truth, the sooner the better, basically. And he's got like the world in his hand right now, so maybe you have like mastered the world, mastered the physical world in the sense that like you've got lots of money, you've got lots of whatever status things that you're interested in. You have to let that go. Like if you want something higher, something spiritual, something you want to be good, you want to have peace, you want to have truth, you want to have love, you want to have your dreams come true, then you gotta get rid of the shit. So you gotta bin all your plans, start from number fucking 1, and start again. But look, people are so scared to give up everything, right? Of course. Because we fear the unknown, we fear the chaos. But the chaos is the divine feminine, it's all this potential, and God says we don't need to fear it because if we trust His plan for us, even though we can see like all these things going wrong, oh, but if I tell the truth, like my world's gonna fall apart, I'm gonna have no one, like everything's over, like I'm gonna have to, I don't know, all these things. We don't see the light. Like this is the doorway we have to go through, and from personal experience, God is a miracle maker. Like, I can't believe what he's done in my life. Like, for me facing the truth, facing my own darkness. And this, I think, is also important. You know, I've spoken about victim mentality a lot, and you know, it's really important for us, even when we are the victims, which I'm assuming everyone is the victim of something at this stage. Um, it's really important for us to not to stay in that energy because we have no power. We would have no power if we stay in that because we let other people say, "But they did that to me," blah blah blah. What I've learned is that even when I have been the victim of like seriously not okay shit, what got me out of that, now looking back, reflecting on all of this, is my my facing the truth and the darkness within my own self and saying, okay, um, I feel like a victim because people keep pushing me around and taking from me, and like I'm just being nice and trying to love them. Then being like, okay, well, if you love yourself, Michelle, you have to then say no, and like taking that power back, taking that responsibility back. And like when I was first saying no to people, I was so uncomfortable with that. I was like, you know, knots inside of my stomach because I just want to say yes to people and help them. And I know a lot of people struggle with this. But you have to have those knots in your stomach and just say no, or say what it is about standing up for yourself, or start taking your power back by being silent. That's helped me a lot. Um, if someone's really trying to get under your skin and wants to make an argument when you just want peace, silence. Close your eyes, just say, I deserve silence. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. That's you taking your power back, and eventually you'll be able to see, like, like maybe this person, um, or whatever isn't good for me. Like, because once you start to see, like, oh, this isn't me, like, because I am controlling myself, I haven't done anything wrong, like, I can categorically say that because I've been silent, I've been kind with my words or not said anything, then you can see, like, what's wrong with this person? Anyway, so that's you taking back your power. Also, the magician, again, alchemy. He's got all the tools on the table. Like, and this is what alchemy is all about. It's about saying, like, I feel angry. Okay, no problem. What do you feel angry about? Okay, it's about this. How do I want to be staying in anger? There's no problem with feeling anger. There's nothing about repressing it. Absolutely not. But then saying, well, I'm not in a peaceful state right now. I can't like maybe stop thinking about this person, this argument, or whatever it is that's distressing, this evil, and then thinking, evil is stealing my power here because I can't like go on and like do what I need to do, help. I can't do anything because my energy is consumed by this anger. And just taking that back, being like, that's okay. I'm rightful to be angry at this thing. Let's say it's some evil thing. I'm gonna feel that and then let it go. And this is so hard. This is so hard. So I understand. Like, I have struggled so much with this. Still do, you know. But it's about taking back that power and understanding again the higher and the lower. It's all the same. You know, we are in a constant evolution of the soul from like lower forms to higher forms. But when you realize this, that like the lower is just a lower ignorant expression, it's got more darkness in it, it's not been purified, there's not enough light in it yet for it to be pure. Um, so yeah, it's base, it's ugly. Um, but you also know it's ignorant. You can see both. It's all about seeing both. It's the two things. You can see that it's ugly and disgusting and evil, but you can also see that it's like in pain and just expressing its pain, and it's not acceptable, but you understand it. So it's kind of like that, being connected to the infinite, being guided by the light, but knowing the shadow. You can't just be. You can't be one or the other. Which is why obviously today it's all about like red versus blue. You know what I mean. politics, all this shit is all about there's two sides, there's two sides, there's two sides, and it's like, yeah, how about we meet in the middle? But that's alright. Okay, and then also in this pile is again number 7, 7 of Cups. What was I thinking about this earlier? Oh yeah. So again, if you get rid of all your plans, get rid of all the options, get rid of the darkness and the confusion, and start again, spiritual path. And if you just pick Jesus, pick whoever is your guiding light, your inspiration, your perfection, your higher self, your whatever that is, you need to pick that and get rid of all the other shit, basically. And then you're powerful as fuck. Like, this is the thing. Yeah. And then you're powerful as fuck to affect the evil that you see in the world. Once you face your own darkness, got to a place where your faith is unwavering, then, like, you're not even afraid of death. They're scared of that. Evil fears that. Evil fears powerful as fuck people who know who they are, people who are strong in love, who don't need to listen to all their shit. People who can stand on their own 2 feet, knowing that God protects them. That's a scary thing for evil, because evil is fear. Evil thrives on fear and doubt, and you not trusting your own intuition, but you gotta trust your own intuition. Trust the feelings that you get. So don't just use logic. You gotta trust your feeling. Don't just use feeling, you gotta use logic. You need both. You need straightness, lines, sequence of logic, but you also need the all of the unconscious, the intuition. Okay, fear and hope. Here we go. We have the 6 of Wands, upright, public celebration. The High Priestess in the upright. She's so key for this reading. And the 9 of Cups in the upright. So I thought that was interesting. That came out like that, right? So look at her. She is sitting between the yin and the yang, the darkness and the light. I said before, she's the gatekeeper between the two worlds. It's like he guards like the heavens, kind of, and she guards like the underworld. It's kind of how I see it. And again, with the Queen of Cups, you don't get past these two. They can see. Like, I know people like to think that, but it's done in the dark, or, no, she can see. The reason she sits in the middle is because she has looked at the dark and the light. That's why she's in the middle. She's balanced. She knows that the world's just a continual cycle. So this is fear and hope. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I saw that earlier. So if you give up, to me this is saying like your reputation, because if we think about facing our fears and lies or whatever, I think a lot of people's fears are about their reputation. Everyone's going around saying that they're good, and we're not very open about our darkness. It's not really something people speak about really in an open kind of way that would be healthy. So therefore you just have people parading around, like, again with the, what was it, the 7 of Pentacles, with their worldly success, or the 2 of Wands in reverse. They've built things in this world that get them attention, get them things now. Well, people will like me now if I don't say no to them. People will like me if I'm a certain way that's like acceptable, if I conform. If I'm not like my true self, then I'll get like lots of friends and like woo. people will like me if people knew the truth, they wouldn't like me. That's scary. Of course, that's scary. Like, we are social creatures, but we need to give that up. That's the darkness, right? Then, if we do that, and only if we do that, then can God, because He is almightily just. Like, you don't get past God, right? She's guarding the heaven there as well, actually, and He's there. You don't get past these two. They know what's up. They know the rules. Like, God doesn't bend the rules. So, yeah, only once you've done that and looked in the darkness with her guiding light, her moon, your intuition, this like cat looking thing here, can you get your wish fulfillment? And God wants to give you your wish fulfillment. Look, 9 of Cups, outcome 10 of Cups. Like, He wants to give you everything. If you can turn the thing that you would like lose your reputation over, or if you can turn the lies into truth, and be proud of your journey, even though you've done wrong. But if you turn to the truth, you can finally stop hiding these cups, these sins, these traumas, these lies, and you can actually proudly show them and be like, yeah, do you know what the truth is? I'm a flawed human being, like everyone else. By the way, I've done shit wrong because I was hurting, I've been hurt, and I didn't have any hope, and I just gave up and started hurting other people. I didn't think about it, I didn't care, it was wrong. But I've told the truth now, and I'm not going to do that anymore. And then you get your wish fulfillment. Then God trusts you and allows you to have true love, true family, true balance. Look at these colours of the masculine, the feminine. That's like a Kundalini awakening, when the two energies circle all the way up from your base, animalistic kind of nature, survival, sex, eating, comes up to your heart. You understand love, you can express truth, see insight, third eye, see the two as one. Then you're connected to the divine. It's all about the chakras and that energy. That's when you get it. And so God is good. God wants you to have this, but you need to listen. You need to listen to your intuition. You need to do the things that make you shit yourself. And so let's just take this back again. So just to take back to the actual question, because I'm blabbling a lot here. So my question was, why does evil exist? Let me try and condense the answer. I'm going to be doing it in a simplistic form because we're just simple humans and we need things to be simple, even though God is, well, God's simple and complex because God's a paradox, but that helped. Also on the bottom of the deck was the 8 of Cups. I think this is significant because, wow, we actually have 7, 8, 9, 10 of Cups. Whoa, so starting at the 7, deciding to take the spiritual path and giving up the worldly success and the worldly praise and the worldly pleasures for something higher. Then you get to the 8. Once you've decided to do that, yeah, you come out of the dark about, should I? Because there's so many things on offer here. Look, there's like celebrations and sweets and and devils and things that like can pleasure me, make me feel good now. Once you've decided, nah, I'm going to choose the one path, then you do. Because you realise something's missing. Look here how the cups are set. There's 8 cups here. But it's like the missing part. Oh, the missing part is you. This red cloak is the pain that you carry. The pain, the anger, the darkness, that you've built up through, in many cases, no fault of your own, because you're born into this time and there's a lot of corruption and trauma, but you might have been starting to give that back out. And so you need to go alone by yourself with the moon, intuition, go inside, and you really have to do this alone. Like everyone, this is the other message God has, is that this is your own path. If you want to have your own celebration, then it has to be your own path. You can't have people helping you. You can have God and spirit, and of course people can help you, inspire you and stuff like that, but really this is your personal journey. And that missing part is going to be found in you. That's spirit, that's God, that's faith, that's truth, that's connection to the divine. But you can't do that when you're amongst everyone else. Like cups, it's like other relationships, like, because people are always going to be telling you how to live. I know what's best for you. No. Do you know who knows what's best for you? It's God, and you can only hear God when these people shut up and you get some peace to listen. So, like, yeah. Yep. Alchemy. Motherfucking alchemy, baby. Look, the Kundalini rising, the cobras. This is the yin and the yang. Yin and yang. This is the divine masculine and feminine energies coming together to create again another two. I get kind of like Jesus energy. Yeah. If you can look at your past and the things that were done to you and give up like yourself, like your ego, and just look, what's the moon trying to tell you? What does your intuition say? Like, look past the deception, the delusion, the, what's that word called? You know, that shit. And don't be arrogant. Let go of your arrogance. Like, people are very good at, when they do something right, it's all them. Oh, that was me that did that. And then when something goes wrong, that was external circumstances. That was so and so that made me do that. I hate that. It's horrible. So if you can give that up and take responsibility for yourself, and be kind and gentle with yourself and others, with yourself first, and then you'll be kind with other people. That's what I've learned. I've been so harsh on myself, which has meant I've come across really harsh with others, and so yeah, it all starts with the internal work. So give up that arrogance, and then what do you get? Ace of Cups, pure love, pure connection to the divine, purity, cleansing, rebirth, a new opportunity from the divine. Look at this white hand, the white dove, the cross. So don't give up on the spiritual path. Like, oh, that's what I was gonna do. Yeah, see it. Where were you? So I want to just simplify. This just came to me earlier when I was doing the reading. A simplified representation of what God is. I thought I saw that. I did see that there. You were right. You were right, 10. Okay. This is what I think God is. Now I need to get this right, so no, it wasn't like that. No, it was gonna be like that, wasn't it? No. Wait, how was it going to? No, that's it. Bum, 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 bum. Maybe that. Sorry. That was like that. I don't know if I want the other way right. Anyway, okay, so basically, what is God? God is the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And again, divine feminine, divine masculine, but on the, I'm being really dumb here, does the camera make that backwards? On this side is the spiritual masculine and feminine, But again, we must remember we live in a physical reality. I think this is where people can get stuck with like, oh, you should just forgive everyone for anything, and you should just give them love endlessly, even if they're abusive to you, and just keep loving them. Like, don't ever give up on someone. Like, no, we live in practical reality. We need to protect ourselves, in the real world that we're in currently. Even though we're also in a spiritual world. Um, we are also in this world, so we need to respect that. This is like earthliness, and there's a way to be that is divine in that sense. And this is like 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. But we also need to be connected to the higher powers of both of these. And so, really this is a balance of what people may need is an encouragement to trust their own intuition. Like, if someone makes you feel horrible, but let's say they're like a family member or something, you don't have to endure that. So the problem with people who are in darkness, like completely people who are evil, who thrive off of hurting other people, they get off on that. Like, they actually truly do get off on that. In their current state, that's what they're into. So if you just keep giving them love, like, they're just laughing at you, and it's not about like being bothered at them laughing at you, like, who cares? But you're abusing yourself, and you can only love others purely when you love yourself purely. And so you must be selfish in a graceful way and look after yourself. So if that means cutting people out, or whatever that means, you should have faith that you are guided and supported in doing that. Anything for your best self. If you need to like take 20 minutes to like meditate away from the kids, and you're thinking, oh no, I need to be aware of them, or an hour, or however long it is, oh, I can't do that, that's selfish, like, I feel guilty. No, because then you're gonna resent it, you're gonna feel like you don't have any time for yourself, and you're gonna take that out on your kids and your family. Like, so no one actually benefits. Like, if you truly purely love yourself, everyone benefits. And we have to let God do his divine miracle work. If we keep clinging on and avoiding death and not facing the truth in the darkness and starting over and becoming connected to the infinite so that he can give us what he wants, we're blocking it. We're actually blocking his divine power. So you'd be like, well, God doesn't answer my prayers. It's like, you have to listen to God. If you pray, you have to listen, like, because God could say, if you pray for like, I want this job or this home or this relationship, like, that's all fine, but God speaks back to you. You need to be able to receive what he's saying. And like, if he's saying, you need to get away from this relationship, this job, this negative energy, this bad habit, you need to stop lying, you need to stop this addiction, like, God can only help you when you work with him. He's not wanting to force you. He wants you to do it yourself. But if we do that, God can do his work. Like, if people started going away from narcissistic people, psychopaths, people who have bad intentions for them, then they would eventually be left, like, and they can actually be forced into, being alone. Oh, it's gone. And doing the work. Then God can speak to them. If people keep coming around and giving them love when they don't deserve it, I'm just saying, God, step out of the way. Let God do his business. Right, okay, I've actually just tidied these up. I'm just going to do a few more cards to finish off. I have no idea how long this is. I feel like I've been blabbing for a long time. So yeah. But how cool was that? I don't know if someone here is interested in alchemy, but a book that changed the game for me was The Kabbalion. It talks all about cosmic law, basically, like cause and effect, and it's like a really practical philosophy that's like really simple and easy to understand. I just love it. It changed my life, especially for basically this question. Like, this is the question that I've struggled with. Like, I want to be nice to people, but then they're being evil to me. Like, what do I do? And yeah, I think it's a really, I didn't bring it down, it's a really tiny book as well, or there's an audiobook on YouTube for free, so if anyone wants to listen to that, again, it needs to be contemplated when, there's maybe a lot of new ideas, but it is totally cool. Right, I don't even know. What are you telling me here, Lord? I'm just throwing out cards like willy-nilly. Let's see if I can work this out. Yeah, I think we're just continuing on, which would be good because that's kind of what we're focusing on. But so we've got like Temperance in reverse, Hierophant upright, Two of Pentacles, Page of Cups in reverse, Queen of Wands in reverse, Three of Swords in reverse, Nine of Pentacles in reverse, the Moon, and the Knight of Swords in reverse. Yes, there's a lot of reverse here. Is this advice? Yeah. So yeah, maybe this is like so if you're unbalanced, right? You'll know it because temperance is obviously a lovely energy. That's when you don't have addictions, you don't have extreme behaviors and thoughts and words, and you're not all over the place and easily rattled. Like, I was thinking about this last night, like people who are very unbalanced like will go crazy if like a glass of water is knocked over, or like these simple things in life, because they're really in their head, they're really like unhappy, they're miserable, and they're unbalanced, and so anything that like nudges them is like and that's why they're so chaotic, because it's like whoa, it's not calm and just like, oh, okay, it's fine, it's not, there's no flow. So that's where a lot of people are. But you need to seek stability, you need to seek that middle road, that straight and narrow path, and this is where like conformity and rules come in. So maybe a lot of the time you need to like, you just need to be strict at first. Like, so if you're like drinking all the time, like just be like, no, like start with the thing that is most out balanced first. So for a lot of people that would be an addiction. And addictions are all sorts of things: video games, porn, social media, TV. What is the thing that is most out of balance for you? Bring the light to that. Don't beat yourself up. It's so hard not to feel guilty when you look at yourself. But it'll just keep you trapped. Just start again. God gives you a new day every day. The sun rises every day. God is always giving you a new opportunity to start again. Another hour, another cycle, like beep, 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 down to another second. Like, you can start fresh. Don't think like because by 10 in the morning, like your whole day's been a bit chaotic, that the whole day is ruined. Start again. Get used to like dying and starting again incrementally, and following like some sort of rules, saying like, no, this isn't good for me. Whatever it is that isn't good for you, I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna like take a stand and be like, no. But balance, remember that this journey is not just going to be like, because you're going to get really disheartened that you're not like enlightened within 2 weeks, and that you still have emotions and get angry, and like, you gotta go with the flow. And remember that if you zooming out is actually a really good idea. Like, look back and see how far you've come. Um, think about yourself 5 years prior, like 2 days. Like, think about yourself prior and be like, I have come a long way. Even if, like, let's say you did give up some sort of addiction, like drugs, and then you relapsed and you think, oh, I can't do this. I just can't do this. I'm not strong enough. I can't do it. I need to do this addiction. No. Like, it's really easy to think that you've like lost all that progress, but you haven't. Like, you decided to do something and you did it, and then something happened and you went back to it. That's what happened. That's a whole learning experience right there. Um, the only way you can fail is if you give up, right? We know that. If you don't stop trying, how can you fail? Like, this is a long journey, the spiritual journey, the journey of the soul. But just try and keep that like strictness, yeah. But when things don't work out and it gets a bit rocky, allow room for that. It's kind of like people on diets, like they eat one cookie. I've had problems with this, so yeah, I know this shit. I used to binge eat all the time. So I'd eat like one cookie and then I'm like devour the whole kitchen. Like, you don't need to do that. And these things are really hard ingrained. These behaviors of like feeling so out of control that you have to do something to like bring it back in. That's okay, right? It's there for a reason. Like, it's related to some sort of trauma, and there's no shame in that. It's just about what can we do from this point. Um, we can heal everything. We are naturally healing. Like, God's naturally healing. So like, just don't worry so much about it. Just try. Just try your best. You can't do any more than that. Page of Cups in reverse. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting like this is about. So when I'm saying trauma, that there's a reason for your bad behaviors, or your behaviors that you're not proud of. This is really about, I would say, like looking at your childhood. It is important. It really is important. For the first 7 years, as children, you're just a sponge for your environment. So your parents or whoever raised you and the wider environment, you just absorb all that. You absorb those lessons like unconsciously. You're not challenging them. So remember that these things have been handed down generationally. Like, your ancestors will have had problems with this. Like, it's not all you. So that should take a bit of pressure off. I'm getting, actually, sorry, just to go back, that this hyphen is also about taking responsibility. So first you see you're unbalanced, boom. Then you're like, hey, I'm gonna take some responsibility here. I'm not just gonna blame other people. Like, there's no power in that. Then when things go a bit rocky, just try and stay balanced. Then you can start to look at where things have come from. Was there abuse in your childhood? Because this is in the reverse. Sorry. So this can be like a bit of a surprise, right? But I'm getting like, when it's this way, it's like it's something you don't want to see. Yeah, it's not like a nice surprise, like, oh, hello, little fishy. It's like, oh, because here I get that the fish is like Jesus, that like pure divine love. In the position, this is like abusive love, or not abusive, love, abuse disguising as love. And this is the shadow work. This is the stuff we don't want to see. Like, we maybe don't want to believe that you maybe don't want to believe bad things that have happened to us, especially if it's been done by a family member, if they've hurt you or betrayed you or kind of crossed a line in some way. It's so difficult to look at that, but that's a, that is what's got to be done for you to understand yourself, forgive yourself, move on into your reborn state where you can be innocent like a child again, full of love and connected to God. Um, you have to first go into that darkness. Um, yeah, and we've got the Queen of Wands in reverse. So this is looking at like, it could even be like your own selfishness again, like, or someone else. But really on this journey, you're going to be looking. You should always look at yourself first, and then other people. Like, you should look at both, but it needs to be yourself first. Like, that's really what I've learned. But here, yeah, she's pretty manipulative, right? Because she's usually sunflowers and drawing that energy in, like attraction. But in the reverse, it's like she's like forceful, like manipulative, like too much. Not optimistic, but uses her like charisma for dark deeds. For the service of the underworld. So she like appears to be like, oh, like I'm just like a sunflower and I'm all light and look, I wear yellow, but actually it's a facade. Like, so looking at your past, yeah, will like reveal situations like this, whoever's involved in that kind of behavior. Like, and again, that's like that innocence. Like, you just want to believe everyone's a good person, like a child, and like the everyone does have my best interest. It's just like, oh, they just went through this in their like life, so like I just have to like forgive them. It's like, yes, forgive them, but don't allow it. Like, it's unacceptable. And if you can see that, then you kind of lose your like childhood naivety, but you can regain innocence in a way that isn't naive. But you need to get rid of the naivety and look, there's some people that just fucking get off on like twisting people up, like on like appearing like it's like these actors, like they love to be like, look, I'm the queen, like everyone loves me because I'm like the sun, I'm so light, but they're dark. And they're really good at acting, like, so once you see that, that can be painful because it's like, oh shit, I got fooled. Like, don't ever feel bad about being fooled by someone who wants to fool you. Like, you'll learn from it, and then after that, you can see. Like, you won't have any problem, but like, I've seen this shit before, not fooling me. Then we have the Three of Swords. I was want to say hearts in reverse. So this is gonna break your heart. Like, when you look into the darkness, your heart will be broken. That's why people don't do it, because it's too painful. You're gonna have been stabbed, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be grief, it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be hard just to face all of it, right? But it's in the upright, heal from that. Find the light. Just always be grateful to have the truth, because the truth does set you free. If your mind's all confused and always having doubts, like, I promise you, you can get through that. I promise you. But take time to heal. Realize that it's not nothing and that you deserve to heal. Like, say no to people. Like, take time for yourself and be like, no, I can't do that. I'm healing. I'll piss people off, right? It'll piss these motherfucking actors off. But prioritize your own healing. Then we have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So this is really, to me, in this reading, saying about, instead of being like independent and like kind of ego, like, oh, I don't need God, like, look at me, I'm the richest man in the world, like that kind of shit. Humble yourself. And and this will all come in a chain of events, but humble yourself, realize that you actually have not just done everything on your own, you've been very blessed, um, and surrender, like, surrender to the divine, not just working alone and like resisting God and being like, I can do it myself. Like, no. Surrender to the divine. Trust your intuition. Trust the power of the moon, which is our divine mother. If we see the sun as the divine holy father, the moon is the divine holy mother, again, who is keeper of darkness, keeper of secrets. Like, nothing's ever lost. It might not be in the light, you might not see it in the sun, it might not be illumined for you, but she'll hold on to this for you. If there's things that's happened to you that you can't remember, if there's things that you've done, like the book Rin, like, just because no one in this world saw you do it, or saw something being done to you, again, come down to justice. Like, if you couldn't get justice in this real physical reality, it will be taken care of, because nothing is unseen, she sees in the dark. So trust her and trust this transformation, right? So with the scorpion coming out of the water, if you think of the water like chaos, darkness, potential, with like lower creatures in, again, lower in the hierarchy than like an angel, but the same essence, comes out onto the land. That's like a symbolic transition from like darkness to light, like from the underworld under the sea up to the higher, the in the light. And look, the path is like, you can barely see it, but it has been illuminated by her. If you trust her and follow that, and then look, you'll eventually get up the mountains to the snowy white top, between the two pillars, between tame and wild. Again, it's that middle way, the straight and narrow path, or a little winding narrow path. And it's all about transformation. It's like, let that happen, surrender. The divine feminine is all about surrender, not forcing, surrender to the divine. Let go of the ego, let go of thinking you can do things yourself. You don't need to. God just wants to help you. So, to sum up, the reason there is evil in the world is because God has given us free will and choice. He wants us to experience bliss, truth, love, and happiness to the highest degree. But because he is truly just, he's not going to give you peace until you deserve it. Deserve's a weird word. Maybe that's not the best word. It kind of is and isn't. Because again, it's a blessing. It's grace, like, because we are forgiven for our sins. So it's not earned in that sense, but it is like, you ain't getting into heaven if you're a narcissist or, an abusive person. Like, that's not the way he rolls. So once you've like come to the truth yourself, admitted that you have problems or you're a pile of shit or like whatever, and then genuinely in your heart, remember, you can't like just say to God like, oh, I'm sorry for that stuff that I did, and like, just between me and you, we'll just erase that. Like, you can just let me into heaven, like, let me out of this hell. Like, no. God knows your heart. So if you're not genuine, like, your acting might work for us dumb little humans on earth, but it doesn't work for the master magician. Like, he sees everything. So yeah, once you take your power, which is your responsibility, even when you are a victim, the only way out is to take responsibility, because you need strength to like leave something abusive. So you need to be powerful, so you need to have as much power as you can get. So take responsibility, have faith, and sorry, I got a bit sidetracked there. So why does evil exist? so that God can show the truest and most beautiful, miraculous expression of love. Because if everything was perfect from the start, you wouldn't, look, you wouldn't be able to compare it to anything. I know this seems a bit like, yeah, but we're talking about real evil. I'm like, I know. If you were just given the perfect love from the start, you wouldn't know. Like, having perfect love after having gone through so much trauma, that's where we're all at. That's the hope, like, that it will feel so good. It will, and you'll be pure, and you've gone through the journey, and your soul has evolved, and you can look back and be like, whoa, what a story. Like, another thing I think of as well is, like, when we watch films and, art and stories, like, we love tragedy. And I find that so interesting because it's like, yeah, we don't watch a film where, like, in the first scene, like, the person that they meet is just, oh yeah, there's no problems, let's just go out. Like, there's no obstacles. There's no, like, are they ever gonna get together? There's no, like, your heart's broken because, like, they just missed each other. We love tragedy, and there's a reason, because it's beautiful. It's, like, deep. It's not as deeply felt if it's just like, oh yeah, they got together and, like, they just got along and there's no problems. Like, it's kind of like, oh, that's not the story I'm gonna listen to. So we got to take a bit from that and be like, why is that? Like, basically, God knows more than us. We think we know, but He's obviously right. This is obviously all a master plan. And just to say again that, like, He will always use your trauma and your struggles for good, so that you can help someone else who's struggling, so that we can all become enlightened, so that we can all become one with God, so that we can all go back home together and be at peace together. Like, I think that's what this story is all about. But I know it is the most difficult thing to accept when thinking about God and higher power. So I hope that has helped. I hope I've communicated what God wanted me to communicate well enough. If not, I'll keep trying. But yeah, thank you for joining me on this reading. Pop questions in the comments if there's anything you would like me to ask God next time. And just thank you for being here. I'm so excited to start this journey with you. Please just comment as well, like, anything you want to, like, subscribe if you like. And I also have just created t-shirts from my artwork, which is, well, you can go check it out. I'll put the link in the description. But it's all about aligning spiritually with your higher self and your purpose, and about seeing things through that third eye, through that one eye, not just seeing, like, black and white as completely separate, even though they are. It's about seeing that they're the same. And again, this is just the paradox. But if you are interested, go and check out, like, go and check out some alchemy things and the Kabbalion. Yeah, someone should read the Kabbalion, I think. Cool. Okay, thank you, Lord. Thanks for speaking through me. Thank you for blessing the people listening to me. Thank you for this new opportunity. I love you so much. Please send your love to all these good people and strengthen those who are in darkness. Please bring them light. Please amplify your voice in their ears. Let the people hear the truth, Lord. It is time. It is time. Thank you for your blessings. Amen. Bless you all, and remember to make good choices, not bad excuses.